Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I am here to set up our budget planner and our budget for the month of March, the year 2020. I feel like I remotely have my life together. We've been in the house for 2 months at this point and everything's pretty kosher. But yeah, I'm not quite there, but I feel like I'm definitely better prepared. So I think this will be the first month. March will be the first month that I'm actually together enough to put our budget back into the budget planner, which is what I prefer, because January wasn't it, February wasn't it. Like, I did not even have the budgets in the planner for those months. So I'm back now. I'm just gonna share with you guys an overview of March and what we have coming up for March, and then also share with you guys how I lay out our bills and paydays and also the actual budget. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. Okay, so for the month of March, according to my records here, the activities, events, and such that are going on in March include, that would cost us, obviously, like financial to-dos, include a mentor trip that I'm going on in March, which is 2 days. It's a weekend trip. Airbnb's already taken care of. We're taking my car and another car. Of course, I'll have to pay for gas. And I do believe that I'm going to make the girls, it's a girl group, like these little snack packs like I did in December for the sleepover. So I think I'm gonna do that, but either way, if I do that, that money's gonna come from the food budget anyways, and we'll talk about that later. Also, as far as financial to-dos, my niece has a birthday, one of my nieces, and then we're also having like a large, it's supposed to be like a housewarming type situation with our friends and family members, mainly the ones that are, like, I hang out with my friends all the time and we can all get together even though we're not all close friends. And so they all want to come down and see the house. Of course, one already came back in December, but the others want to come down. My godchildren want to come down with their mom. So it's gonna be, because of that, I went ahead and extended the invite. We extended the invite to other friends and family members, but mainly they're our age. So like, our house is gonna be full. So anyway, long story short, that's gonna be a situation for which I anticipate that we will spend more for food and alcohol, which would come out of the food budget. And then one last thing, which may require us to come out of pocket, is I may be hosting coworkers here, but this time I think we're gonna do a potluck, and for which case I would probably just provide like alcohol or something like that. So again, all of that would come out of the food budget because that includes a lot of things, to include alcohol, restaurants, groceries, all of that. So those are pretty much the only financial to-dos that I can foresee for March. We will obviously have to pay our tax bill, which we went to our tax consultant a couple of days ago, so we're waiting to see what that bill will be. But that's not like a part of our regular budget. That money we already have aside, so it really wouldn't affect things really too much. So I'm just gonna put together this budget based on the information that I have now. Obviously, if within the next couple of days, at the end of February or the beginning of March, something needs to change, it'll be an easy fix. I can just white out whatever, scratch out whatever, and that'll be that. But I do like to have, we do like to have a plan, a remote plan, like at least somewhat of a plan going into the new month. So now let's hop into the video. So in just walking you guys through the month, the first we have mortgage and health insurance. Second, we have cable/internet, and that's just an estimate, as you guys will see in a minute. And then electricity on the 3rd. And then of course we have our paydays. I will be away that first weekend. This Prime and some of these others are actually business expenses, so they're not going to be like technically included in this overall budget, so to speak. But I do pay for Prime, TubeBuddy. I need to look up how much all of these cost. And Canva. This is when my husband's credit card bill is due. However, we don't currently have a credit card bill due because the balance is 0. So if there is any spending that takes place, it would come out on the 9th, but as of right now, I'm not expecting for any other spending to take place. Okay, where are we at now? So now we're here on the 15th, another business bill, which is Acuity, and then Apple as well is a business expense, and then my gym fees, which I think I may cancel. Then we have cell phones, our student loan payments on the 21st, and then I just have this, it's not really a bill, it's a reminder to send my niece's birthday gift by the 23rd so that it can make it to her by the 26th. I have Instant Ink, another business expense, water/sewer, that's an estimate as you guys will see in a minute, and then security system, life insurances, and Netflix, which I don't know how much that is either. So I have to look up those, and then housewarming, which is going to be that weekend when my friends are here. I have not filled out any of this yet because I cannot until the end of the month. But moving on to this section here, haven't really set any financial goals specifically, but I do have some notes, which is to cancel the additional channels that we got with DirecTV, because if not, we'll have to pay for them. So they were free for the first 3 months. And then B-Day gift, housewarming, party food, and alcohol and drinks, and then possibly cancel gym membership, which is why there is a question mark, and then coworker kickback. So those are just kind of some notes as of right now. Moving on to the actual budget. Regarding the actual budget, I have the total here, which is actually the budgeted, and then I have actual because I like to put in our mid-month numbers, and then I have another actual for the end of the month. That's just what I like to do. So as far as income, we're going to budget $10,500, and our expenses are going to be the equivalent of the income. So $10,500. That is because we do an every dollar budget, which is basically making sure that we have somewhere for all of our coins to go. So all $10,500. And obviously investments and all of that, they are not a part of this budget. This is just expenses, and as you will see, debt. So for our mortgage, that is $1,471.46, and that is the actual amount. The security is $51.47, and those make up our housing category. Electricity, phone, cable, internet, water, and sewer make up our utilities. So our electricity bill is $94.06. That is what that's going to be. Much like those, these are like numbers that we already know because they are fixed expenses. Phone, another one, $101.50, another fixed expense. We do have Vivint, and we bought all of our equipment up front, so we just pay a $50 monitoring fee plus taxes, which is and fees, which is $147. And then we have Georgia Power, of course. And then phone, we have AT&T prepaid cell phone plans. We own our phones, so we have the luxury of partaking in prepaid plans, which if you own your phone, you can too. Cable/internet, we currently have DirecTV and AT&T, and we're still trying to work out the kinks with this bill. I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere around $140 moving forward. That's not what I'm not happy about that. I think is when I signed up, it was supposed to be less. We're still working out the kinks for this because this isn't going to work for me. I will pay $125 maximum because that's what I paid previously, and I was, you know, not too distraught or stressed out about paying that much. So we need to work out that kink. I'll keep you guys posted. For water and sewer, we don't have the exact bill yet, and we don't get it until like the 1st or the 2nd of the month, which is annoying. So I'm just going to budget $45 because our first month we paid $34. So I'm just going to budget $45 to be safe. My allowance and my husband's allowance, they are both $100, and that pretty much is enough for us to buy pretty much anything that we would want, honestly. That's why it's $100. For beauty, that is $200. That makes up hair cuts, hair appointments for me, and oftentimes like pedicures and eyebrow waxings and things of the sort. Sometimes I do take that stuff out of my allowance. Just kind of depends. So I have already scheduled a hair appointment. Oops, I forgot to mention that. Oh, it's because I didn't put it in the little sheet that I was referencing. I have already scheduled the hair appointment, and it will be no more than $100. It probably, I think it's normally like $75 or something. So $75 of that will go to beauty, like to my hair for sure. And also I have a bunch of Ulta gift cards. So sometimes makeup and stuff will come out of this category, but I won't need to take anything from that, honestly, for the next year or more, because I got hella Ulta gift cards. For donations / gifts, we always keep a little something in here. And this is just for like random donating and giving. That's it. So like, well, not random, but like anniversary gifts, or, you know, I had a friend that got engaged in December or January, so I sent her out a couple of things, which was $50. So we just like to budget a little something here for any type of like miscellaneous donating and giving. So I do know 50 will go to my niece for her birthday, maybe a little more, it just depends. She's like 10, so she might be at a place where she starts getting more, but whenever I start that trend, I'll have to start it for my sister's other daughter too. So I need to, and it would start with this niece because her birthday is first, because I would give them the same amount even though they're like 5 years apart. So I need to figure out when I'm gonna start bumping up this amount. I don't think I'm ready to do it yet, maybe next year. Anyway, toiletries, $50. That is for paper towels and things of the sort. And then we have miscellaneous for $100. That worked out quite well in the apartment. I'll tell you right now, it's the end of February and we haven't had technically any miscellaneous expenses. Everything has fallen into the house category or some other category. Although I will tell you that the Netflix, typically we just throw it in the miscellaneous category, or any other like random stuff like that. Like the other day we bought our first movie like on the TV, and so that would go in miscellaneous typically, but that also was kind of like a date night in type of situation, so it could also go in food / dates. Miscellaneous is just tricky. We just leave it here for like random stuff that we forget to budget for, basically. Next up we have travel. We are budgeting $150. I do need to go on a small trip. I am going on a small weekend trip to Charleston, South Carolina. So I am budgeting $150 for that, and that should be plenty. I'm going to be with a bunch of kids, basically. Business. So I do put the business budget here. Technically in my brain it's separated, but I do like to continue to share with you guys just a roundabout figure of what I'm budgeting for business. So $500, which is what I do every single month, because I like to keep the overhead to a small percentage, as small as I can keep it. So this is a very small percentage. Next up we have, and all those subscriptions and stuff that we talked about, that would all fall into here, as well as like if I buy a new camera or some kind of new equipment or something like that. And that pretty much, I mean, that always more than does the trick. But I do like to have a decent amount here because I don't want to, you know, not purchase something that could enhance the business because it's not in the budget. Next we have house. So moving forward, this is definitely not going to be $400, but as of right now it is, because I am paying some of the girls in the mentor group to clean my house and like help me around the house in exchange for, you know, cash. They're doing work for me in exchange for cash for the upcoming trip. They may want to come back later in life, you know, after the trip. I'm not really sure, but I'm not paying them $400 by any means. But this is a little larger because I have been purchasing like small things for the house, also large things for the house. But normally that has been coming out of savings. But eventually this, like after we get through this leg of paying off my husband's student loan debt, things will look a little different. But as of right now, this is just what the budget's looking like. And then we have my gym membership, which I'm thinking of canceling this because I haven't been to the gym spring of 2019. So the reason why I keep it is because if my husband ever wanted to go to the gym, then I could bring him along as a guest. But neither of us ever want to go to the gym. So I think I may cancel this in like now. But if not the end of February, then hopefully at some point in March. For gas, we're going to do $150. We are commuting a little bit further to work. Well, I am speaking for myself now that we've moved, but nothing too dramatic. So I'm still filling up once a week pretty much. Health insurance, that is for my husband. All other like insurances and stuff are deducted from my check as well as some other stuff. So like the vision insurance for both of us comes out of my paycheck. And I just said that vision insurance. What else? Dental insurance. Those come from my paycheck. But this one is the only one that does not. So this is paid for through like Anthem, I believe. And that's my husband's health insurance. Life insurances, both of them are due on the same day at $42.19. That's the total for both of our insurances. For food, I am going to budget $1,170. This is food/dates. My husband is working on our March date. Normally we do a date night out every month. And normally we like to alternate because sometimes we do stuff my husband wants to do. Sometimes we do stuff I want to do, like April. Well, January we did what my husband wanted to do. February we did what I wanted to do, and then in April we will do what I want to do. And that's, my husband's working on March now, but I already have April like planned out. So anyway, long story short, food/dates. This is for eating out, groceries, and this is hiked up a whole bunch for the month of March because again, I'm thinking if I host my coworkers, I'll probably provide the alcohol, and then I'm gonna have like a whole weekend extravaganza with my friends. So I definitely want to provide alcohol or, you know, something like that. When food, even maybe catering or some sort of shenanigan whenever they get here, because, you know, godchildren, everybody's gonna be here. So that's why that is hiked up. Could probably stand to be a little bit more, but we're gonna try to work it out with $1,170. And then our student loan payments, $22178 and $7342, and then debt. So basically, if everything goes as planned or remotely close to plan, we should be putting nearly $5,000 or somewhere around there to my husband's student loan. He has 3 currently. They all have a balance of less than $5,000. So it's like $4,700 and $4,700 and $4,000 and $4,200. So really, the goal would be to pay off one each month. So I'm putting a larger amount towards debt, even though realistically we would be trying to pay off like 47, I think is the highest one. And so that would technically leave a few $100s left, while we would be putting like $4,700 towards the debt. I'm just budgeting a little bit more for it just to keep us like accountable and on track. I just like to do, as you can see, I kind of budget a little bit more for everything else. So this is no exception. So if everything goes as planned, or even if things are, you know, go left a little bit, if we spend a couple $100s more in one of these other categories, that would still leave us with like $4,700 to put towards my husband's student loan debt. Now, let me talk to y'all. Oh, and the total here is $10,500, just like the total for the income and the expenses. Everything is the equivalent of $10,500. Like I mentioned earlier, we are still waiting to hear back from the IRS, the feds, and the state to see what that tax bill would look like. We've obviously saved up what we think we will owe for taxes, but honestly, we're not really too sure. So we just have to wait and see how February, I think he'll probably have our taxes back. He said give him about a week and a half. So maybe the beginning of March, that midweek, about midweek, that first week, we might know what the tax bill will be. But we're thinking we have enough saved and everything will be kosher and we can move forward with paying off my husband's student loan debt. But I can promise you, worst case scenario is that we do have to cipher a little bit from the debt category for March and apply that towards debt, because just because we know that we're gonna have a large tax bill and whatever, and we've saved and prepared for what we think is gonna be our tax bill, that doesn't mean that, so like even if the tax bill ends up being a little more, it would never be a good idea for us, depending on how much it would be, to go into savings to withdraw money to pay the IRS whenever we can take that money from our monthly budget, if that makes any sense. So like if we owe the feds $2,000 more, we would take what we already have saved. We would take $2,000 from the March budget from the debt category, and we would put that towards to the feds or to the state or to the IRS, and then whatever would be left, we would apply towards student loans. So we would never take from savings to pay for what we can pay for in a given month, if that makes any sense. That's just how we work. Because while paying off debt is important, first of all, the IRS is a debt. Like, to pay the IRS money that you should have paid them throughout the year, but you didn't, because that's not the way that your taxes were set up, is to pay for a debt. So paying the IRS is a debt. So either some of the money is going to go to student loan debt in the IRS, or all of the money is going to go to student loan debt. Let's cross our fingers that it all will go to student loan debt, and then we will only be 2 months away from clearing out all of my husband's student loan debt. So if everything goes as planned, March, April, May, it'll be finished by May. If we have to cipher a little bit, it may be, well, it could be the end of May or the beginning of June. It could still work out either way, even if we do have to cipher, borrow from ourselves a couple of $1,000s. But fingers crossed, everything works out. I will keep you guys posted, of course, because if everything works out, we're hitting the ground running with paying money towards debt in March, because we're already ahead on our monthly bills. And, you know, we created that buffer at the beginning of the year purposefully so that we could be rocking and rolling. So that is our March budget. I know I talked a lot, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and you were happy for me to be back in my planner, as I was. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.